Underground radio.
What does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Connected with Cari here on JessTV, JessFM. I'm just making sure I'm live on my socials. We're just going to take a second, make sure we are live on the radio. Just waiting for a little bit of confirmation. Meanwhile, I hope everyone is doing so good. Again, we are live through JessTV, JessFM, Underground Radio C. We are live through the Underground Radio C YouTube page. Now, YouTube has been fairly newly added into all of my streaming platforms, so I would totally love it and appreciate it if you guys went over and you could like my page, subscribe, and do all the wonderful things, which would be totally amazing for me. So now we are live on the radio. Welcome, everyone, through JessFM. You guys are just tuning in. So welcome to Connected with Cari. Here this beautiful, wonderful Saturday, July 12th. This is now, because I'm in Calgary, we're into the weekend of Stampede just coming to a close. So if you've been enjoying the Stampede, remember, go down, be kind. There has been some interesting things happening down in Stampede. So please be safe, protect each other, stay hydrated because it's a hot one. Also, so tomorrow is like the last day of Stampede. Enjoy it. Have fun, kids. Be safe. As like I said, with me this evening, I have a beautiful host now I'll rewind a little bit so that you guys can understand and know. Last year, I started a book tour with the Culture Revolution book, and it has 13 authors in this book. Now, 13 authors, some did collaborations together with some chapters, some are solo authors. So between shows, I've been off and on getting I was going to say artists. They are kind of artists in a way, authors of Culture Revolution to come on. So if you've seen some of the shows before, you kind of know a little bit about the book. But if you haven't, we're going to go over it again, just so that you guys kind of know. And then also in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another author on as well, coming in talking about her chapter. So I know books aren't like, oh, great big deal sometimes, but I think they're often overlooked. So this one is particularly very important if you are in the workplace. It is workplace, business, and it's a culture of workplaces. Let me just put it in that way. So if you're in a workplace, even if you're an entrepreneur, I think this touches up on some good aspects of, even things that you will encounter if you're collaborating with people as well. So just those little different things that can happen in a workplace that maybe why is this going on, whatever. And so this is kind of from a business perspective of, what are some things that are going on in the workplace culture, how to collaborate, how to do things better. What are people, what are they going through? All these different things. So you can never learn, overlearn about workplace culture. Let's put it that way. And I think the more you know, the more it's better, right? So without further ado, I'm going to welcome my guest to the show, Cheryl Crumb. Welcome.
Hey, Cari. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Now, this is an interesting story. Along with Cheryl being a beautiful author in this book, we have literally been trying to get her on for about a year. About a year.
I know.
Back and forth and trying to, so Cheryl had she went on vacation and she never left. Let's put
Well, I wanted to wait, Cari, until I knew my biggest competition was a bucking bronco at the Calgary Stampede. And I had to wait until July 2025 for that.
Right. Absolutely. I think that is a very interesting thing to kind of go up against, because I think just like a workplace, bucking broncos, you can have those at the workplace, right?
I'm
get
sometimes surrounded by them in my training and coaching programs.
right, exactly. You get the stubborn heads, you get people that always want to butt your head and go, look, like, no, we're not here to like, we're here to join forces, not to be like, the bucking Broncos. So I think that's
Exactly.
perfect. I think that that's perfect analogy for what we're going to talk about tonight. So first of all, when I'm just going to get Cheryl to do an introduction of who she is and this amazing business that she has, first of all. And when Cheryl does this, Cheryl, I'm going to just stick you on a solo screen. So I'm going to go into the background and you're going to just kind of take away the spotlight and tell everybody who you are, what you do for your business, and then I'll come in and then we'll kind of keep it on from there. All right.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, Cheryl, take it away.
Well, hello, everyone. As Cari has said, my name is Cheryl Crumb. I like to think that who I am is someone who aspires to be courage in action. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that I am a business owner. I've had Cheryl Crumb and Associates for 28 years. I am a mother. I am a grandmother. I am a wife. I am a friend. I am a daughter. I am a cook. I am a gardener. I hope I'm a Renaissance woman. Uh, I my business is really helping people become energized by the power within them. So my business is training and it's coaching. And so I have been talking about culture for over 30 years. So let's start by telling you what culture is not. At least what it is not when I'm going to talk about it. Culture is not that hoity-toity. We're going to the opera, the theater, the symphony. I'm going to wear a tiara, and my husband is going to wear a tuxedo. That's not what we're talking about with culture. We're not talking about the newspaper section in your daily paper that is entitled culture, and everybody is smiling and looking very plastic. And we're also not talking about petri dishes where bacteria grow, although kind of like bucking broncos, sometimes culture does seem to have some bacteria. So what have I been talking about culture for 30 years? Well, to me, culture is living. Culture has a pulse. Culture is what it feels like to be with others. And it's based on the behaviors and the decision choices that people make. And so culture is the impact of the world that we work in or play in on us and how it impacts us. So that's why I love culture.
I like culture in a petri dish.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, that kind of culture can be interesting too because it's there and then it grows and it grows. So, in a sense, all these culture ideas are very similar, that they do grow and they become one and they become of interest to different people and different communities, right? So, like a medical culture, their medical community will go and be like, oh, there's this culture here and that culture. So it's interesting that you put it that way. It is interesting, but it's not that culture.
It's not
So
that culture.
that's
That's
very,
right.
very cool. So when you wrote your book,
Yes.
obviously, like, you've been in the business world 28 years. I can't even compare. I've only been doing my business 5.5 years, and it's been interesting and fun. And there's always a new culture kind of working around, because now it's like I have a culture within cultures in this type of industry. So there's a culture with my guests, and there's a culture within the broadcasting community. So it's like very interesting to see the different sides and how we do need to collaborate and work together and bring that all together. So can you tell me, because with every guest that's come on about this book, I'm like, how did you find out about doing this book? Like, was there, did you know Caitlin or Adam from Enta Solutions? Like, how were you introduced to them? And why did you be like, okay, yeah, I want to be part of this book. This sounds fun, and I want to put my input into that. So tell us the juicy part.
Well, and it's a great story because, Caitlin and Adam, Caitlin Bullock and Adam Colazetti are both from Calgary, as you are. I live in a rural community. I live in the middle of a forest. You can see my window, and there are thousands of trees. So we have, they're in the big city, and I'm in the wilderness here. Well, during the pandemic, a friend, a business colleague of mine named Matthew, said to me, there are two people that I really would like you to meet. And their names are Caitlin and Adam, and they're coming from Calgary. So I'd like us all to get together in my office, his office in Markham, Ontario, which is a suburb in the Greater Toronto area. So we met and again, this is a pandemic, so we're all covered in masks. All we can see is each other's eyes. And I fell in love with these two people. Well, I think it was mutual. I think we had a business menage a trois immediately. We spent the whole day together in Matthew's office. We went out to dinner. We were having wine and beer and drawing. And when I say drawing, just sharing concepts about culture and people and organizations and effectiveness. And it was really very alive. So last year, somewhere around this time, it was probably closer to the fall, Caitlin and Adam said, we want to sponsor a book. We think we want to call it Culture Revolution. We want it to be a collaborative book, and we want you to be part of it. So I think that there's always been a budding author inside of me. I don't know which I like better, to talk or to write. So that was the start. And it takes labor. Having a baby takes 9 months. I think writing a collaborative book also takes about 9 months. So that's how we all, at least I started again with Caitlin and Adam. I had already done some YouTube videos for them. We had been working together, so it was just synergy.
Okay, yeah. That's one of the beauty things of just like the collaboration world, and just be like, yeah, when you've known someone for a little while and you're like, it just automatically, like you said, the synergy, and you're like, yeah, I would love to do this and love to do that. Even though sometimes we're not really sure what we're doing, but somehow it just falls into place of, even just like the idea of a chapter. As I've interviewed some of the other authors, I'm like, how did you get your idea for your chapter? Why did you want to write on this? So I'm going to ask you the same thing. What was the idea behind it? And why did you, because you're like, yeah, you would love to write a book. And of course, you've been in work for millions of years, and you've seen people, you've known culture, and, now you talk about different cultures. And, so why, like, what was like, did you sit down? Did you have an idea right away? Did it take you some time? Let's get into that.
Okay, good. Because it's an interesting story, Cari. Because I labored so put yourself in the spring of 2024, and we're getting very close to the deadline. And I had completed my chapter. I can't remember how many words we had. And I was working with my publisher, Heather, and I was working with the editor, and I had something, but I wasn't enamored by it. I felt scattered. So, and maybe it's because Flexibility is my middle name. I'm Cheryl Flexibility Crumb. I went to bed, and this is late spring now, and we know the book is going to be launched in the summer of 2024. I went to bed, and I had a dream. And so I woke up in the middle of the night, and my iPad was right near me, and I have a keyboard attached to my iPad. And the dream I had was about a totally different chapter. And so I stayed up for about 2 hours, constantly typing. And in the morning, I sent my totally new chapter, it was about 95% completed, to Heather Andrews, my publisher. And I said, well, I know that you've already edited what I first gave you, but I like this one better. So Heather read it and she said, I'm going to call this, Cheryl, your divine download. And that's what it became. So, Cari, my chapter, rather than being theoretical and pedagogical, my chapter is in the form of a theatrical play. So there's act one, scene one, and what I decided to focus on was the impact of an individual's temperament, that is our nature, on how that influences culture. So I created a protagonist who is really the consolidation of many, 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 many people that I have coached. And my chapter takes you through his story. Act one, scene two, act two, scene one, scene two, as he discovers how other people, as he discovers himself. It's a journey of my protagonist in learning about himself and his impact on people.
Wow. Now, when you first emailed me,
Yes.
I remember you were sort of comparing it to Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
Right? And
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even post that at all with any of the the captions or anything like that. However, I did post it when I created our live stream.
Yeah. I said, I have to cook tonight.
Oh my goodness. I sent Cheryl the streaming link and I put the word steam instead of stream. Good old typo errors. There we go again. Can't even talk today. See,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. So anyway, we had a good laugh about that, and I said, "Well, you better cook up some because you're gonna have to do hot and steamy for us." So we had a good laugh over that. But you have to, right? Like when you make errors, and it's just life, and it's just like this. It's a live stream, so
We flow
anything
with
can happen, right? Anything can happen, which is fun. So when I put up the stream, and I put the little caption, whatever. And, I did say, something comparable to Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Now, some people may not even know who that is or have any history with it. Some people that are a little bit older, oh, yeah, you've probably seen plays or read books or you know those stories. You've seen it on Disney. You've seen it here. You've seen it there. They've made many remixes of it on movies and many books. But for those who have never even heard of the analogy or heard of the stories, can you take us briefly through that type of a character and why you decided, like, again, you said, you wanted, you had those switch, but how did you switch those in that chapter? Take us
Okay.
through that. We don't want to know the entire story. Like,
Yeah.
don't give us the entire, because I want the audience to go and get the book,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
But
me
do
too.
take us a little bit through it like you would, like a playbill and just kind of, drop some goodies for us.
So again, remember, I'm in the middle of my dream. And in my dream, I'm dreaming about Robert Louis Stevenson, who was the author of, I can't even remember the formal title of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it was the story of Dr. Jekyll, good, and his evil, let's call it his evil dark side, Mr. Hyde. And that's that dream was what was inspiring me about, remember I said I wanted to share the power of our temperament. So let me talk about temperament for a moment. We all have it. We're born with it, or it's certainly there, developed by the time we're 2 years old. And our temperament is really unchangeable. It's our nature, it's our preferences, it's the way we choose to behave. So for example, in my case, I tend to be a very outgoing, gregarious individual. I like to socialize. People relating is my strength, networking. I'm an individual who is quite restless and driven, and I do like to take charge. I like to talk, as you can see. Um, I I've had my own company for 28 years. Prior to that, I had two jobs for 13 years where I was training manager, and I didn't like being told what to do. I'm much more independent. So those factors, all that I'm talking about, are parts of my nature, and they're always going to be my nature. But when we look at our temperament, it's really important to understand that it's kind of like our hand. So I'm looking at my hand. I see the front of my hand. And so I see that I'm a bold, take charge, risk-taking person who aspires to be courageous and tries that, I'm people oriented. But you know what? You're looking at the backside of my hand, and you're not necessarily seeing that take charge, bold individual. You might be seeing some overbearing person who is not listening to you, who interrupts you. You might be seeing somebody who socializes too much, and she doesn't look at the facts and the figures and the numbers and the pros and the cons or logic or reasoning. So all of us, our temperament is great. There is no better temperament. But we need to become more aware of who we actually are. So in my training and in my coaching and in my chapter, I took our protagonist really through a walk around himself, almost as if he was looking in a 360-degree mirror. So he wasn't just seeing those wonderful traits that made him so successful as a senior vice president of a company. He began to see the side of him, the dark side, the Mr. Hyde side. He began to see that and discovered perhaps why some people were leaving his company. So that's the metaphor between Dr. Jekyll, the good in us, the powerful, the advantageous, and Mr. Hyde, that dark, maybe not totally evil, but it can be very disruptive and dysfunctional and get in our way and those of people we are working and interacting with.
Right. Wow. That's pretty deep. That's pretty deep because
in a dream.
dreams are amazing.
I know.
Dreams tell you so much. And when you can take an idea that does manifest through a dream and you can kind of run with it and play with it and make it relevant to, of course, workplace culture and this book, especially because oftentimes now it's so true. It not only just there's a good and bad side of each person. I mean, it's a universal yin yang type of, that's what we all have that naturally. It's just a part of us. But
Yes.
learning that, the bad stuff may not necessarily be bad, but it's how to work with it or change it or make it so that you can understand it a little bit more. Like you said, now this person is a boss, and why are people leaving my company? What's going on? And all these questions. So now we can go, oh, I've been doing this. I've been running them rampant. I've been a meanie. I've been calling people names by accident, whatever. or he himself is burnt out, that he gets angry, and because he's like not getting enough sleep. And we all can get that way, right? If we don't get enough sleep, we all kind of get a little itchy and a little bitchy, a little we get there.
Yes.
So when we realize, okay, it's preventable, and we kind of train ourselves to go, okay, well, maybe I'll get to bed a little bit earlier, or so and so's been kind of rubbing us the wrong way. Like, why is that happening? And then you can also ask other people, why are you guys leaving the company? What's going on? What am I doing? And then that way people can give very good feedback. In a company, I think that's very important. Now companies are a lot better. Enta
Yes.
Solutions been wonderful. They've got all these wonderful networking groups, and they do all their fun things together, which is amazing. Would be able to sit down and do some powwows together. It's so important to have just that intercommunication within a company and go, okay, what is something that might be happening? Why is one person, why are they not feeling good today? What's going on? And maybe it's a personal thing. Maybe it's not a work thing. If it's a work thing, how do we fix it? How do we go about, making things better? And I know they do, I think it was once a month, everyone gets a day off and they get to be creative and do something. And that just allows people to just be themselves, right? So like you said, that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, that, can kind of come out and go, why am I more on the dark side than the good side? What's going on? Why am I, and get a more of a balance, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Go
No,
on.
no. Well,
Well,
and
I,
then I was just then
we're
I
so
was just
engaged.
exactly right. But then I also quickly want to briefly say too is in individual situations, we are different people. We're different around families. We're different around children. We're different around grandchildren. We're different around coworkers. We're different around whatever. So there's also that side of it, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That's not necessarily good or bad, but we're just a little different in each situation because we can be more relaxed in one situation and let loose. And other situations around the children, we have to have the boundaries and this and that. And maybe in the workplace, you are the boss and you need to incorporate a little bit of both
Yeah.
of playfulness, but keeping boundaries, right? Now go ahead, please.
So, there's so much I know. You and I could talk forever. So
Probably.
I hope everybody who's watching this is as engaged as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I believe that it begins with awareness and self-discovery.
Hmm.
Because once we become better observers of ourselves, we
Yes.
can choose actions that are more effective for the situation. Now, as I said, we all have a nature, and we don't think about how we act. I mean, it's our knee jerk reaction. Um, but once we become aware that, well, in the case of our protagonist in my chapter, once he became aware that people thought he was insensitive, uncaring, a bully, overbearing, because that's never how he would have described himself, then then he was able to choose different actions in different situations. Now that doesn't mean he turned himself inside out and changed, had a mountaintop experience. It just meant that, let's say, 80% of the time his nature was working for him, his temperament. And I use a tool called the McQuaig system, which I'm enamored with. It's a company in Toronto that measures temperament. So write it down: MCQUAIG, McQuaig. But the 20% of the time, when his natural reactions, his natural preferences, his natural approach wouldn't work, he can choose to do something different. So a thing to recognize is choice. We all can choose. We can choose to be empowered, because my belief is that culture is determined and identified and created by all of us. See, culture exists everywhere. There's not a place without culture. It's either there by design or by default. So each of us, whether we are a high role in an organization or we have just started, we can influence the culture. We can choose the culture. You know, when I teach people how to look for a job or how to hire somebody, I'm telling them, Cari, you know, yes, you have to fit. It's like a puzzle. And your puzzle piece, you have to fit with the job. That makes sense. That's the obvious one.
Yeah.
You have to fit with the boss, you know, because most people who quit are quitting their boss, not their job. You have to fit with the team, and you have to fit with the culture. If you are not
Like no
comfortable,
pressure.
that's right, because we all need to feel psychologically safe.
Yes. Yeah.
Or else all of the talents that each of us brings, we're going to submerge. So we're going to bury ourselves. So it's only when we feel psychologically safe that we develop the courage and empower ourselves to speak out, to offer our input, to participate. And so this isn't just about a job. This could be about a family. This could be about a community of friends and neighbors. It could be your church. It could be your board of trade. We all have that ability.
Yeah.
Because all of us can be leaders. Leaders and managers are very different.
They are very
Yeah.
different. Thank you, Cheryl. That's,
Cari.
definitely we got to look into the different ways of, how are we fitting in with everybody around our surroundings, and look at a different side. Like if there's, any friction or something going on, step back and go, okay, is it just the situation or is it yourself? How do we, work on that, right? Work on yourself, work on things. I like that. I really like that. So as I posted up, I know I made it really fun because I was like, because it's summertime, and I was like, oh, it would be like a fun poolside reading to do. And you're taking a break from work and you're on vacation, but it's still good to do some research on culture and workplace. And also, of course, to take that time and be able to work on yourself. Right. So I wanted to incorporate all that into the poster and go, what are some things that people are reading over the summer, and not just fun romance novels or whatever, but doing some homework and doing some inside work is really important. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there and go, this is one of just a visual on stopping and taking a break and just looking at yourself and reflecting. That was like the water in it, going, reflect on yourself and reflect what's going on and enjoy your summer, but also use it as a time to be able to reflect on yourself and work on things. So, Cheryl, any last little bits you want to put in before we wrap up?
Yeah, because as you were, just now talking about using this, I guess this peaceful, harmonious, or what we want to make peaceful and harmonious summer is really thinking about the values. Because I haven't talked about values, although I certainly mention them in my chapter and in my, in my training and in my coaching. So I believe in value of taking care of our customers. That it's customer success rather than me, money, money, money. That becomes important because it's really servant leadership, and it means that what I have, for example, discovered about myself, Cari, is that my culture has to have fun. My culture has to have laughter. I just love laughing. I love enjoying. I love being. So I have to be in a place that encourages that. I have to be in a place where we're learning. We can only learn through two vantages. One is, wisdom and the wise choices, but it's also failure in some of the horrible choices we've made.
Yeah.
Nobody becomes wise because they've always been successful. So it means I have discovered about myself that I want to be in a culture where it's not about punishment and, slap your hand. And for example, I think I mentioned to you, my 6-year-old grandson is staying with us this week.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming very aware that I'm saying things like, Caden, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that,
Yeah.
and it's something like what's the average? 70 negatives to 1 positive. So I'm catching myself, and it's, hey, Caden, that's great. What did you discover by falling out of the apple tree today?
Yes.
But that's values.
Yeah.
And I think part of our reflection that you're encouraging us all to do, Cari, is really think about, all right, what are the values that I want to look for in all the groups and communities that I'm in? This isn't only to business owners, because that's really a niche market. This is to everybody, recognizing that we have that ability to be alive and energized by the power within us. So once we discover us, and once we reflect on, it's really important, and search out and seek out and make decisions that show that those values are true, that they're actions rather than words. So I think that needs, while we're reading whatever we want to consume, to reflect on that as well.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Last but not least, where can we find you? And where can we get the book?
All right. Well, my Cheryl Crumb and Associates. I have a website, Cheryl Crumb and Associates. I am on LinkedIn for Cheryl Crumb, and for Cheryl Crumb and Associates, I am on Facebook, where I am Cheryl Goodison, my maiden name, Crumb. I have done some, as I mentioned, some videos with Adam and Caitlin. So I'm on their channel, some little, 4 to 5 minute quickies.
Yeah.
Reels. I live in Sunderland, Ontario, which is about an hour and a half away northeast in the forest of Toronto. And you can call me, you can email me, you can text me. I am all about working with my clients for our mutual growth.
Perfect. Wonderful. And then, of course, the book you can find on Amazon. So type in Culture Revolution, and you will see this beautiful cover, so vibrant and bright, and just like it's on there, puzzle pieces coming together. So it's interesting. It's really interesting cover, and I like that. So so thank you, Cheryl, for coming on. Go check out the book. If you guys read it, let me know how it is, because I haven't read it yet. I'm not reading it till I'm done interviewing every single author on there. So I've still got, I think, 5 more people to go somewhere in there. But I'm getting antsy. I definitely am, because it's getting interesting for me. So if you guys have any comments, I'll leave them behind and we'll get to them later. If you want to reach out to Cheryl, feel free to do so. If you want to reach out to me and then I can reach out to Cheryl for you, we can do that too. With that, Cheryl, thank you so much. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Get yourself to bed, because it's later there. And have fun with the grandson tomorrow.
I know. Yeah. We're going to see if we cannot fall out of an apple tree tomorrow.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay. Thanks, Cari. Goodbye, everybody.
Well, there we have another Connected with Cari here on JessTV, Jess FM Underground Radio. See, we're live through the Roku 101 station as well. If you guys want to, you can always go to Roku, download the 101 app, and then you'll find JessTV there. We're also live through the radio, of course. I mean, where else would we be? And Meta TV as well. Now, Meta TV was added on a couple months ago, so that's live through Italy. And of course, as you guys know, the NCG television network in Italy, they're always pulling through for us, even though it's like 3 a.m. there. So with that, have a good Sunday over in Italy. May you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. If you're going to Stampede, stay safe, stay hydrated, have fun. And with that, we'll see you guys next weekend. And shift happens. We'll be back not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. We're having Alan Marston back on. We're going to talk about AI shifts, how to shift from a negative thinking of AI into a positive, how to use it for good, not evil. The bad, the robot stuff. We'll talk about that later. But with that, have a great weekend, everyone. Stay connected.